A World of Deserts by Katherine Harper. Contents: A very dry place. 2. Desert sand. 3. Deserts in the world. 4. Different kinds of deserts. 6. Animals in the desert. 8. Desert plants. 12. Living in the desert in the past. 14. Living in the desert today. 15. Dust in sandstorms. 16. Water in the desert. 18. The future of the desert. 20. Glossary. 22. Index. 23. A very dry place. Deserts can be hot in the day and cold at night. They can be beautiful but harsh. They can look empty, but there is life. Something that all deserts have in common is that they are very dry. It can rain in a desert, but the water doesn't stay long. In a desert, more rain evaporates than falls. It has not rained in parts of the Atacama Desert for 500 years. Deserts get less than 25 centimeters of rain in 1 year. In other places, the same amount of rain can fall in just 1 hour in an extreme storm. For example, 30.5 centimeters of rain fell in just 42 minutes in Missouri, USA in 1947. Desert sand. Over thousands of years, the changes in temperature can help to break down rocks into very, very small pieces. That's how desert sand is made. Sometimes, the strong desert wind can blow the sand into piles called dunes. Sand dunes can be very big and very long. These sand dunes are in the Sahara Desert. Deserts in the world. A lot of the land on Earth is desert. People often think of deserts being in hot places. That isn't always true. There are deserts on every continent. They can be in hot places and cold places. Different kinds of deserts. Some deserts are very cold all the time. The Antarctic is the biggest desert in the world. It is covered with a thin layer of snow, but it does not actually snow often. The little amount of snow that does fall does not evaporate. Snow and ice cover the ground, but the Antarctic is very dry. Many deserts are in very hot countries, such as Algeria, Yemen, or India. Some deserts, like the Namib, are on coasts beside oceans. Sometimes they are cooler than hot deserts, but they are still very dry. The Namib Desert stretches for 2,000 kilometers on Africa's Atlantic coast. The Namib is the oldest desert in the world. Animals in the desert. Animals need water, so living in the desert can be difficult for them. Desert animals have special ways of keeping water and food. They also have ways of protecting themselves from the extreme weather and desert conditions. Camels have humps on their backs. These are full of fat. Camels use this fat for food and water. It can last for many days. The camel's long eyelashes and closable noses help to protect them from sand. Their wide feet stop them from sinking into the sand. Camels walking in the Taklamakan Desert. The Australian thorny devil drinks in water through its skin. The South American peccary's mouth is so tough that it can eat a cactus. The sidewinder rattlesnake moves sideways. This helps it travel over sand without slipping. Only 2 points of its body touch the hot sand at any time. This sidewinder is traveling quickly over the hot sand. The fennec fox has large ears to help it keep cool. They also help to listen out for the insects the foxes like to eat. Desert plants. When there is little water, or if it evaporates quickly, it can be difficult for plants to grow. Desert plants have adapted in special ways. Many desert plants have thick, waxy leaves that stop the water inside from evaporating. Cactus plants store water. There are many different sizes and shapes of cactus, but they all have spikes instead of leaves. Palm trees grow in many deserts. The spiny leaves of the palm tree stop camels from eating them. They store moisture and nutrition in their long trunks. A date palm gives both food and shade. The Sonora Desert has cacti which can reach the height of 4 giraffes. Living in the desert in the past. Traditional desert people needed to keep moving to find water and feed their animals. The Bedouin children in the Saharan and Arabian deserts lived in tents with their families. These tents protected them from wind, sun, heat, and cold. Traditional nomad children of the Gobi Desert lived in round yurts with their families. The yurts were made of animal fur and skin. Traditional Bedouin tents were made of goat hair. Living in the desert today. Today, a few people still live in traditional tents and yurts, but most desert people live in modern buildings. They can live in tall apartment buildings or single houses. Their homes and schools often have air conditioning to keep them cool. Dust and sandstorms. Strong desert winds cause sand and dust storms. These can blow up very quickly. The sand is blown into the air, making huge clouds up to 305 meters high. Dust from a sandstorm can travel across oceans. It's hard to see or even breathe in a sandstorm. Sandstorms can damage cars, buses, and farms. Water in the desert. Most of the desert is dry, but sometimes people can find a place with water. This is called an oasis. The water usually comes from springs deep under the ground. Many plants and trees grow around it. The oasis is an important place where desert people can get water and food. Oases can be very big. Some people build houses and farms around them. This is the biggest oasis in the world. The future of the desert. The world is getting hotter and, in many places, deserts are getting bigger. This means that there is less good land for growing food. Many people are going hungry. In some places, desertification causes famine. This used to be a farm. Now the desert is taking over. In other places, people are learning to work with the desert. Huge solar farms use the sun's energy to make electricity. Wind farms are also being built in deserts. The largest solar farm in the world is in Dubai. This wind farm is in the Thar Desert. Deserts are amazing and extreme places. They give people both challenges and hope for the future. Glossary. Adapted. Changed to survive in different places. Air conditioning. System keeping buildings and cars cool. Cactus. Desert plant that can survive hot, dry climates. Desertification. Way that land changes into desert. Dunes. Large piles of sand blown by the wind. Dust. Small dry bits in the air and on land. Evaporates. Turns from liquid into steam in the air. Fur. Hair that grows on animals' bodies. Humps. Large lumps on an animal's back. Moisture. Wetness. Nomad. Person who travels most of the time and doesn't live in one place. Nutrition. Food. Sideways. Movement to the side. Solar farms. Large areas that make electricity from the sun. Springs. Places where water comes up from the ground. Store. Collect to keep for some time. Temperature. Scale by which heat is measured. Tough. Strong and hard to break. Traditional. Done in a certain, often old, way. Wind farms. Large areas that make electricity from the wind. Yurt. Round tent.